Hello, everyone, and welcome to this awesome Food Healers Los Angeles meeting on Thursday, June 10th. And Annie, why don't you kick it off because you've got to go soon. Annie V, go for it and welcome everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good to be here. We're really excited to do our event, first event in Los Angeles. It's going to be in Dockweiler Beach. The planning was great. We did a lot of things with Sarah. Sarah's amazing. She's just an action lady, you know. We went to Costco today. We got some supplies, some for this event and some for the upcoming events too. And I think everything is set to go. And there will not be like, oh, we made a mistake. You know, it's just everything's going to go smooth. Everything is going to be great no matter what. So that's how my feeling is about this event. And it's the first one. We're learning. The food is going to be great. I think it's going to be awesome. That beach is really busy on the weekends. So especially beginning of the summer, and it has the fire pits. Also, people like to do that during the sunset. So they want to get their spots earlier. And I think it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. So, yep.
Exciting.
And also, I'm looking forward to seeing all these wonderful people that want to, you know, make a difference. They want to join us.
Thank you. I feel the same because since Annie helped me, really, she's like the person behind the scenes that does all of the stuff behind the scenes. So she helps like let Annie know about like, what do we need? You know, like what stuff for the stew can, you know, make sure this and that. So sorry, I'm very excited because Annie just really stepped up, and now we've got Annie V and Annie A. And Annie also made the flyer, you know, and I went down and looked to figure out the towers and stuff, but she made the flyer, then she updated the flyer. She made the logo. I mean, she really just did everything that I was like, okay, this is what we need done. And she was like, okay, I'll do this. And she's also making signs with the recipe printed on it and the Zoom links and stuff. So she's got 2 signs that she's making. So I'm just thrilled that she just stepped up to the plate and just, you know, she even gave me a bunch of free food today too, which I separated in bags to give to one to Annie and one to John because they're making a batch of the stew. And then she also gave me these, which I'm going to give some to Annie too. She gave me this whole bag of cherries, and all of this stuff is organic, California grown. And all of the food, we got basically almost all the food for free. Annie A is on, so I kind of want you to backtrack and talk about Food Healers and talk about Hemel and what he did and how we came up with the Love All Feed All, and kind of start from the beginning about how we came up with this and how we're going to branch out, because she came up with a great idea for our next event. Could be at Hermosa Beach, which is free parking, and it's a park and the beach with hotels around and stuff. So let's do this as our like trial, and then we can step it up and go out into the general public. So I think that's great.
Sarah, this is Michael. When you're in Hermosa Beach, please say hi to our friends at the Guacamole Fund. Right there in Hermosa Beach. Guacamole Fund.
Oh yeah, well definitely.
They work with Bonnie Raitt, Jackson Browne, all these great artists, and they do gold circle receptions. They're great.
You'll have to get me more information so that we can reach out to them personally.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. That's awesome, Michael. Love that. And I saw this country music awards last night. I watched part of them. So that's something that me and Boomer Jr. used to do together. And and they were singing from Bonnaroo. They were out there at Bonnaroo, outside at that outdoor venue, and it was just amazing. But yeah, okay. So take it away, Jamin.
All right, welcome Annie A, welcome all, and Sarah, hats off and major kudos to you for your amazing energy and love and passion. You're just getting us all excited, getting us all aligned to make this happen. And, you know, I just want to acknowledge you. You were the first one to step up and say, let's actually do this right here in LA. Let's start feeding people. And then created an opening for the rest of us to jump in and support and participate. So it's the power of one now multiplied across all of us. So super exciting. Let me welcome Miranda. Miranda, we are recording and we're doing our weekly Food Healers Los Angeles segment. So welcome, Miranda.
Hello, hello.
Hey.
Continue recording.
Yeah, great. Yeah, we're recording and we've been having a pretty cool time up until now. But listen, Miranda, with you here, now it's perfect. So welcome.
Thank you, man.
All right. Well, Sarah very kindly asked me to provide kind of a general overview of all this. And the general overview can be stated in very simple terms. The overall objective is saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth. And I'm going to ask everyone to mute their microphones because we're getting a little feedback. And I may mute your microphone for you. But saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth is the big picture. I went ahead and muted a couple of folks, so just unmute whenever you want to talk. And speaking of which, don't hesitate to unmute and jump in. This is a conversation with questions and answers and opinions and everything. But the big picture is saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth. Let's unpack that a little bit. Saving. We first need to save life on Earth. We're in the middle of the 6th mass extinction. The planet is overheating exponentially thanks to the massive meat and dairy industries. That is the number one, far and away, and by many times, the biggest driver of the decimation of ecosystems and the biosphere generally. It's the meat and dairy industries. You know, it would be one thing if it was just some indigenous tribes here and there doing their, ritual sacred hunting or whatever. And that's not to condone that or anything like that. I'm just making a comparison. But we have these mega industries, okay, that level, slash and burn the forests of the Amazon and forests generally, to then enslave animals. You all know the story, but that's the biggest driver of the decimation of the biosphere. Now, when it comes to exponential planetary overheating, that is actually at this point, that's becoming neck and neck the biggest driver, along with animal agriculture, exponential planetary overheating. The drivers of animal agriculture have two main drivers: greed and addiction. People are greedy, so they want to raise lots of cattle, et cetera, et cetera. And addiction, a lot of humanity is addicted to meat and dairy. The drivers of exponential planetary overheating, on the other hand, are multiple, right? The single biggest, it turns out, is animal agriculture itself. So in a way, like all roads lead to Rome, all of our problems really lead to animal agriculture. And Dr. Silas Rao, who will be on tomorrow morning, Food Healers, has analyzed this extensively, published a white paper on it, which I'm proud to have co-authored along with others. It's called Engineers' Solutions to the Scientists' Warnings. And so basically the single biggest solution that we can possibly do is to get off animal agriculture, eliminate animal agriculture worldwide. And then in parallel with that, since exponential planetary overheating is its own runaway train, even if we ended animal agriculture tomorrow, that's actually not enough. We also need to implement other radical solutions to cool the planet. First, to stop this exponential planetary overheating. Imagine creating a ceiling and we say no more, but then actually to reverse it, we need to bounce off that ceiling and go backward and actually cool the planet down to pre-industrial temperatures, which are much more supportive of life. So those are the two big things we need to do. Get off animal agriculture. The world basically needs to go vegan. And we need to cool the planet with solar radiation management as the single most powerful and strongest medicine that we can give the planet for cooling the planet, right? And so now we come to a question. How are we going to incentivize and organize, motivate and inspire humanity as a whole to go vegan and somehow organize itself, organize herself, humanity as a whole, to do massive implementations of solar radiation management, basically mirrors reflecting sunlight back into space all around the world? How are we going to do that? That's a rhetorical question, which I have an answer for, but again, I want this to be a conversation, so feel free to jump in, everyone, with your own comments, your own contributions. So my answer is to first address, first of all, what's taken us so long? Why have we continued for so many decades down such a destructive path when we've known for many decades exactly what's going on here, both with animal agriculture, the cruelty, the destruction of the environment, the driving the planetary overheating being the #1 driver? And why are we not getting serious and getting real about, therefore, ending animal agriculture and cooling the planet with solar radiation management? What's the holdup? Well, the holdup, as we talked about before, are the two main drivers of animal agriculture in the first place: greed and addiction. Now, in terms of the more general project of ending animal agriculture, implementing solar radiation management, and thousands of other things that we need to do that are all important, getting off single-use plastic and so many things, right? Again, here's the question of the day. What's the holdup? Why are we not doing these things that we know we need to do? Again, it comes back to greed and addiction. Greed because people are, somebody who's making money off cattle ranching, they don't want to, stop making money off of what they've already invested in, et cetera. And then addiction. But so the addiction is also addiction to money, addiction to hoarding, right? And so what is it that would help us get off the addiction to hoarding? Getting off the addiction to meat and dairy is one thing. How do we get off the addiction to hoarding, right? And I would say that the roots of that problem, the addiction to hoarding, are the fundamental mode of production, to use a term from economics, the mode of production of the global economy. We're in a mode of production which is basically unbridled hoarding, individual hoarding, first for individual survival. And once you've checked the checkbox, okay, I've hoarded enough that I know I can survive, I can make it. You're then hoarding for ego and hoarding for additional security, right? But here's the thing, since we're playing what I refer to as the all-day monopoly game of unbridled hoarding, you're only going to be secure if you own everything, because even if there's one other player on the board building houses and hotels and charging you rent and trying to outbid you, you're never secure. That's why Bill Gates will never have enough money. And he is in freak out mode right now because he got passed up first by Jeff Bezos, then Elon Musk. It's like, what the heck? I'm getting passed up. And I believe, I used to work for Bill Gates. I believe that is what motivated him to make the omnicidal choice to step in and block the COVID vaccines from being open sourced so they could be produced and deployed all around the world. I mean, here is an example of a single person committing genocide against humanity, primarily against poor people of color in other parts of the world. And it's for greed, because he is heavily invested in biotech and pharmaceuticals specifically. So he doesn't want for there to be a precedent of open sourcing any of this technology while he can profit from it. I mean, talk about evil. My goodness. So this disease of hoarding, of greed, and this addiction to the all-day monopoly game is not something that just afflicts poor people. It afflicts all of us. So how do we get all of us to wake up and snap out of this all-day monopoly game that we're so addicted to, so attached to? I believe the first step is to feed everyone. And of course, to feed everyone plant-based foods. Because by doing that, we show the world and we retrain the world. And doggies too, by the way, not just people, but animals. We need to feed all the animals, of course. Yeah, that's right, buddy. High five. Oh yeah, kissies. Good stuff. Nothing like kissing a vegan dog. Anyway, so by feeding everyone, people, dogs, etc., plant-based foods, we snap people out of this hypermania that if I don't hoard, I might starve to death. I might die of poverty, of starvation, of houselessness, of whatever. And so by feeding everyone and making this a reality, which is incredibly viable, totally viable. Mother Earth is so generous, producing just bumper crops of plant-based foods. And what do? We turn around and we feed like 80% plus of that food to enslaved animals, right? And so the mass of enslaved animals around the world has just exploded as animal agriculture has exploded. And therefore, they have appetites. They need to be fed. They don't want to be there. They didn't ask to be put in that situation. They didn't ask to be overpopulated way beyond their footprint. They just want to be running wild and free as wild boars, not enslaved hogs, right? But we have plenty of food to feed everyone, multiple times the amount of food to feed everyone on Earth. Mother Earth gives us the food for free. We are the ones, since we're trapped in this all-day monopoly game, we've decided to monetize it. We got to monetize food, monetize meat, monetize dairy, monetize pharmaceuticals, monetize everything. So what we're starting is a trend towards demonetization of the basic essentials of life, provisioning these basic essentials to all humanity, all dogs, and really all life on Earth by becoming the caretaker species of protecting and healing all the ecosystems and species around the world. So we're starting a trend here. And this trend, we're doing the things where it's kind of like in the movie The Hunger Games, when at the end that boy and the girl decided to support each other and help each other survive rather than just staying trapped in the game. So one name that we've given this is the Hungerless Games. We haven't discussed that lately, but anyway, it's, if you think of it as a game, it's the opposite. It's the anti-particle of the Hunger Games, the Hungerless Games. And what better place to start this hungerless revolution and plant-based revolution simultaneously than Los Angeles, where we have the media capital of the world. We have people from every single country all around the world, well represented. You've got Ethiopian communities, Korean communities, you've got communities from every part of the world in Los Angeles, right? And being the media capital of the world, it's the perfect place to project it. And we've got all these vegan celebrities who are just waiting to be invited to the Hungerless Games. They may not know it yet, but they're waiting to be invited to the big.
Well, with Seth Rogen, we have the cannabis capital of the world right there, LA, California. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, there's so many great folks who would love to be in this game, but somebody had to start. Somebody had to say, you know what, let's actually do this in a big way, in a way that can grow and grow and grow. And that's Sarah. So with that.
Props to Sarah.
Yeah. Sarah said, we're doing this. And I know Sarah as really a superhero, superheroine.
Yeah.
When I first met her at Vegan World 2026 in Arizona, at the end of a long 3-day conference when people normally go and party and have some beer and all that, she said, hey, we're all here. Let's go do some interventions. And so we went and intervened in a very serious way in a Golden Corral restaurant nearby. And it was just like, wow, it was my first intervention. So I was just like, whoa. And it was super cool. And so that's why I thought, wow, this woman, Sarah, is a force of nature, absolutely committed and in it for all the right reasons. So anyway, I feel like I've been talking a lot. Let me go on mute, see if there's questions, comments, other stories, additions. This is something we're all co-creating here. So yes, Sarah, go for it.
Well, I just want to thank you, Jamin. And like, I want to have Annie talk next. Because we do both need to get off because we have other things that we're committed to. Also, we have Molly, so we'll bring this all back. So Molly, which Annie knows Molly. We saw Molly at NARD and she had announced her candidacy. So we've got some stuff coming up with her. And Annie stepped up to the plate and said, hey, you know, I want to work with Dr. Rao on climate healers, food healers. And I was like, all right, well, you need to come on our first meeting on food healers. And then you can see Dr. Rao on Friday, if you're lucky. I'm just kidding. But it's the same code for Friday. We meet at 7 a.m. on Friday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Dr. Rao comes on sometime about 7:30. Last time I think he came on right at the beginning, but most of the time he comes on about 7:30. And then we stay on that. Then we talk about the Amazon after that, which is very important because we all know we're on fire. And we're having a heat wave here next week in LA. And Utah, Salt Lake City, reached over 100 degrees last week for the first time ever. We are in a major water crisis. Lake Mead in Nevada, which feeds 7 states water. 7 states, okay? No one's paying attention. There's no water. So all these people that have houseboats, sorry, you're not gonna be cooking your animals on your houseboat grill because you're not even gonna be on there this summer because there's no water. And people need to wake up. And when we're out there at the beach and stuff, you know, we can have conversations with people or whatever, but we're not trying to be rough on them. We're just like, hey, we're giving free food. There's no strings attached. You don't even have to clean up the beach if you don't want to. But I brought Annie on because when she even like reached out and said, yeah, I want to help. I want to do this. And I'm like, wow, okay. that's good, because Jamin gave us a donation. So he helped us financially be able to not stress about, we don't have to dig through the garbage and get the food. We don't have to stress about stuff. We got enough stuff for the next few months events. Like, and we barely spent any money. We spent way more than I wanted to at Costco, but we hardly even spent anything at Costco. I was just so happy about what we got at the dollar store, that I got at the dollar store. And then Annie donating so much, and so much of her time. I got all the printing donated, even the paper donated. I got the blue and the pink paper donated. So that's why I'm so glad that Annie's coming on. It's because she's not just volunteering her time to make the stew, but she's going to come to the beach cleanup and help out. And we're going to figure this out. And she came up with the idea of doing it next at Hermosa Beach area, which is even better. Because I was thinking, is anybody even going to come to this on Saturday? But Annie said, well, there'll already be a bunch of people there. And I said, I don't know. I've never really been to Dockweiler. I don't really hang out there because, but so that's why I was putting these up on neighborhoods. And I was kind of stressing myself by driving around, and I felt just weird because I was like a door-to-door salesperson. I was literally driving around and putting these and taping them onto telephone poles. And I was kind of embarrassed. But then I was like, well, how are these people in these neighborhoods going to find out? Because isn't that what we want? The people that are all in the neighborhoods, they're not vegan. I walk dogs in that neighborhood. They're not vegan. One dog in that neighborhood's vegan because I turned him vegan. My clients told me about his skin allergy. I'm like, just feed him vegan food. I'm like, be cheaper and it's going to be great. There's no downfalls to it. There's no if, ands, or but. Well, where am I going to, all protein's in there. Your dog is a lab. He's going to live. Everything's fine. And they've been very happy. So we're trying to reach out to people like that in neighborhoods and bridge that gap, because we're not trying to feed houseless people. That's what our friend Sister Ivy does, Ingrid. And I don't know if you've ever seen her at Toastmasters, Annie, but she does the houseless thing. And she said she's been doing it for 10 years, but I feel like we did a pretty good job organizing our first event. We hadn't done this for 10 years. I feel like we've done a pretty good job, and we have a lot of people stepping up. So with that, I'll let Annie tell you about herself. And she's also Queen of Disruptions. I like how Jamin softened it up and called it an intervention. And Jamin wasn't with us for the second part, but we went to a steakhouse for the second part. And that was really, really crazy, because the guy stood up and was just screaming at me, profanities was right up in my face. And I just was like, as you know, just looking at him like, yeah, whatever, dude. But he was crazy drunk person.
Just for that, I will not do the Heimlich maneuver for you, sir.
And it was crazy disruption at that steakhouse, because it was pretty crazy. The Golden Corral was it was pretty tame compared to the steakhouse, because Golden Corral people were screaming at us, but steakhouse people, we were at their tables because we each got assigned tables. And I don't know why they assigned me to the most gregarious table ever, but anyway, they went out and scoped the place first before we went in and disrupted. With the Golden Corral, I think they barely scoped it before we went in, but I was glad that Jamin was part of that. And I'm glad that he actually got and understood why we do disruptions, because it is extremely uncomfortable for the people that are in there. And it does make people look really bad and makes us look kind of crazy. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to show them what was hidden from us. And that's what we did. I was with Annie on Saturday, which she can tell you. And we went around Santa Monica at different places. We had a pig's head that was really disgusting. It was so gross. And then Michael was carrying this bloody lamb. I mean, it was really sad, but we did speak outs all over. In this one place, they were really pissed. But Annie, I hope she has it with her, came up with the most ingenious menus ever. And they are menus that actually depict what they're actually serving. I mean, it is brilliant. I can't wait till Dr. Rouse sees these posters. I want her to show them tomorrow morning if she's available. But you got to show these posters. Take it away. Annie A., I'm so happy that you're part of Food Healers. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It's always wonderful doing things with you. It's just so exciting. It's like powerhouse. Woo! We got to do it. We got to wake people up. And when we present all these, we do disruptions. We always remember to tell people, we're not here to judge you. We're not here to attack you. We're not here for anything that is against you. It's just that we're trying to awaken you to the reality, make you aware of things that we ourselves, we used to be like you until we woke up to it. We got aware and awake to the reality, the ugly reality. So yeah, the preparation that we did with Nazila, it was wonderful in Santa Monica. It was a first walking in Santa Monica with the menus, the bloody cafe menu. That's what I called it. And everything comes with a side, of course. Yeah, the raped mommy that is turned into a hamburger, for example, could come with a side, a complimentary side of a heart attack. So I decided to make a whole menu of that so that people would be aware. And then, of course, the bloody menu with the blood all over. Unfortunately, I've given away my menus and the specialty of the day, but I do have pictures of them. So Nazila, I gave it to Nazila. She was one of the organizers with me and Michael, my big brother. And she's done it before in the farmer's market. She used to always have a little table. She always managed to do that every week pre-COVID. And they were sitting with the heads. And I'm like, oh, just sitting there? No. There's got to be something. So I prepared the menu and she was so surprised, so amazed that I came up with it. So it speaks for itself for the most part, even if we're not saying the word. And the disruptions are powerful. However, you know, the main idea behind it, although we get frustrated and upset with people attacking us, like being aggressive so often, because they're going through the stages. The stages of acceptance goes through 3 stages. So they're in one of those stages. We have to always, I remind myself, I tell everybody, but also remind myself they're on one of those stages despite of what they're saying. And I try to tell them again and again, this is not about attacking you. This is just making you aware. The food healers, this is incredible. Coming back to that, Dr. Rao, I adore him. And his granddaughter, what an amazing 11-year-old. What a sweetheart, came up with the recipe of the stew. Incredible. She's just like grandpa, a little genius, beautiful young soul. So it's really incredible. Feeding people truly is one of the most basic needs, as in Maslow's basic needs of hierarchy of basic needs are, one of them is, of course, the food. When you have no food, you can't think straight. Nothing else matters. When you don't have shelter, clothing, safety, you can't think of anything else. These are the basic needs. When these basic needs are met, people can start going towards the self-actualization, pyramid of self-actualization. And of course, it could take stages, and some people manage to jump stages. But the most basic needs as food, this is essential. People often talk about it, and they may do it in churches for certain money collection and all that. This is amazing. We're doing it for nothing, just nothing, expecting nothing but cleanup, which is something that responsible that everybody should do. I do it around my neighborhood when I feed the birds and squirrels seeds and nuts. I pick up automatically without anybody knowing about it. I do this every day. So we are basically reteaching or reminding people the basic humanity, the basic essential to live on the planet. We need to start seeing Mother Earth as our bigger home than just our little home where we go to. People in their dwellings, they are very picky. Oh, don't put that trash here. Don't do that. And then they have zero problem to open their doors, throw their trash on the floor, on the streets. And when I see that, I'm sorry, I'm one who speaks up and I say, absolutely not, pick it up. Somebody leaves their dog's poop behind and I go, oh, excuse me, your dog just did, oh, I think you missed it. Oh, I forgot my bag. No problem, I have a bag right here. And that's how I do it. Or I often even use my baby's bag to pick up. But this is showing, and I'm trying to set an example. This is not my enjoyment or I have nothing better to do. We're trying to set example by living it, by doing it in action. And this is the reason that we are all here today, because we're all trying to set example for the world. By, they say the change could start with one person. And thank you, Sarah, for starting this once again. Thank you so much. Props to you. Love you for doing that. It's really great to start, you know, organizing something as beautiful as this to bloom into a tree, from a little seed into a huge tree, and then to spread around for everyone to plant the seed and have these beautiful trees of feeding and being a part of community, caring for each other. So this is incredible. And of course, Dr. Rao, he's incredible. I mean, everything he says is treasurable. And James and everyone here, you're all incredible. Love you all. And thank you for having me. I appreciate it for including me. As soon as I found out, I go, oh my gosh, you're doing that here? Can I be a part of it? Oh, sure. All right. I'm in. So I'm more than happy to be a part of. And by the way, feeding people, I try to do it frequently, even in my neighborhood. I tell them, oh, I made some soup, I made extra, or I made some rice, extra salad, and this and that, and I give it to them. And when they ask, I go, it's vegan. How did you like it? Oh, it's so delicious. What did you put? Vegan, no animal products. So I often try and do that whenever I can. I do that anyways, but this is even much better, because now we can have more people to join in, and I can hardly wait for us to start and continue on with this and build on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my God, that was beautiful. Wow, I'm so honored to have you actually. And I came in to let you know about what Himmel did, because we probably won't always be doing a beach cleanup and serving food, but that was just kind of the idea. The way that Himmel did it was he just set up a table in downtown London, and he put a sign that said, "Love all, feed all." And like maybe like a few people came, and then more would show up, and like policemen would show up, and people from like, maybe he calls them rough sleepers, people from like work, like walking through work. And I think Jamie could tell you a little bit, but I wanted to show you one thing. So I'll have a vest for you to wear, because I don't know if you saw these vests at the last outreach I did. I brought them to the Santa Monica Pier a couple Saturdays ago. And it says free info on the back. My mom sewed these letters on the back, and the front is just a vest. It's a reflective vest. And I'd like for the volunteers to wear them at the event, because that way, if anybody has any questions, they just see that vest and they feel like that's a safe person I could talk to, right?
Awesome.
And it's like, the other thing I want to make sure is that even though we know that the stew is vegan, we're not really wanting to say that it's plant-based. Like, we're saying free food and it's plant-based stew, and that's it. And there's the recipe, and you can QR code it or whatever. I wanted maybe if tomorrow morning, Jamin could somehow help Andy make the QR code for the sign, because I think I'm not sure if she made it yet, but she's got her daughter's graduation. But I wanted Jamin to talk about Himmel real quick, just a quick overview, and then we kind of need to get off soon.
Sure, absolutely. What wonderful stuff. Annie, oh my goodness, so happy to know you and hear about your passion and your commitments and what you're already doing in the community, for the community, and for the planet. So thank you.
Thank you.
And Sarah, thank you again and again and again and again. The world owes you a debt of gratitude that it doesn't even know. Now, you mentioned Himmel, another superstar over in England. I think of Himmel as the Sarah Siegel of England. Anyway, Himmel is, he's doing Love All, Feed All. Now, I was introduced to Himmel by Dr. Silas Rao. And we did a program together, and he was telling us all about feeding plant-based foods to folks in England. And he had been doing that for many months, or even, I don't know, maybe a couple of years or something.
Wow.
And then suddenly came up with the idea of this sign, Love All, Feed All. And he said, as soon as they put up that sign, they had more engagement and like more donations in the first day of using that sign than they had in months combined. It was just like crazy. Wow. So love all, feed all is just a magical, so simple. Any 5-year-old can understand it. Yeah, feed everyone. Okay, wow. That makes sense. You know, love all, feed all. Wow. So anyway, Hemel is a hero to us. And so we're all learning from each other. And this gets to yet another point of this whole thing is collective intelligence, the sharing of information, knowledge, best practices, what has worked, what hasn't worked, what's under development, what we're working out, and we get to work it out together in conversation and then put it into practice in the real world. So anyway, with that, I'm feeling pretty complete. I know you ladies have a lot to do to prepare for Saturday, and we've got a big meeting tomorrow morning starting at 7 a.m. bright and early, which I need to prepare for as well. So anyway, with that, I turn it back over to you, Sarah, for final words.
I just am really happy that Annie came on. She really helped me. She was there for me. She's always been there for me as a friend, but she's always been there for Boomer. And she got to see Boomer and spend time with him. Boomer was in love, still in love with Chanel, her little rescue Yorkie, which Chanel's coming to the beach cleanup, hopefully. And he just loved her. He'd go crazy for her. And she supported me so much with Boomer, and she would basically bring me food, and she's giving me so much food and salads. And anytime we see Annie and we're at an event or any type of activism, she has in her car a bag of food for everybody. So this is like perfect segue for her to come into Food Healers, because she's just literally trying to do what we're all trying to do. Is like, this is like what I told Dr. Rao and said, this is just like Girl Scouts. And we're just earning our Food Healers badge. And basically that's what this is. It's just another thing that we're doing that's trying to help make the world a better place. And 1 out of 4 people are food insecure, including myself. And that's why this is so important that we make sure that we let people know. It's just like Dr. Rao said, it's very simple. Food is a basic human right. Right? And that's it. That's our answer. Because media come or anything comes, we want to make sure how we say what we're saying. We don't want to start going off on this vegan thing with the media, because they're never going to publish it. Even when me and Ashley were, we had that big interview with Inside Edition, that big TV show Inside Edition, and they never aired any of what Ashley said at all during the interview, even though she got all the stuff from going to the front after I created the distraction. The media would not cover anything she said because she said vegan, but I think they had one tiny little 2-second thing from me saying something, but both of us on there, but they wouldn't say why. We said why we did it, and they would not talk about the dairy. Because of course we were like, yeah, let dairy die. That's why we did it, for the dairy and the cows and blah. We explained the whole thing to the guy, to Jim Moran. And he was just like, he didn't want to hear it. And therefore he wasn't going to air it. So we couldn't even get past the gatekeeper. But we need to be careful with the media and what we say, and we need to know how to position ourselves. And it's, well, food is a basic human right. And this is a plant-based stew that is healing, and it's approved by doctors. And that's it. Because it's approved by doctors, that's true. PCRM, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, will have all that stuff. And then we also want to let, like, if people want to have individual conversations with us about what our organization is about, we want to let them know about Climate Healers. We don't have to start going into why we're going to have a vegan world, because they haven't even got there yet. Even vegans, can't deal with that, right? So anyway, that's it. But thank you, Annie. Oh my God, this is going to be great. And very happy that you're joining our team. And thank you, Jamin. And if you want to say anything, we are just looking for one more thing. We're looking for a table, but I might be getting one at my client's house out of her thing she said for me to look. But that's the one thing. I already have one table, but I need one more table.
I may be able to get a small table if you want. And your clients would be an addition one. So
Yeah, I already have one, and she doesn't know if her table's in here. She said, look and check. So I needed to do that last night, and I just didn't have time. So I'm going to do it today because it's a special key I got to use. But yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Maybe we should stop recording before we move on. Jamin, what do you think?
Sure. Happy to. So let's pause now.